Good evening, everyone. I want to resume our Selectmen's meeting. We first opened up tonight, and then we went directly into executive session. And now we're back. The meeting is being broadcast on local TV and recorded for rebroadcast on local cable channels and on the internet. Gentlemen, I don't have any announcements. Anything from you, Joe?
Nope.
Archie? Okay, then let's get started. First thing on the agenda tonight is the police department presentations and appointments. Chief Reed, please.
Tonight, first thing, order of business, I'd like to give a letter of commendation to Officer Mike Dwyer. A number of weeks ago, Officer Dwyer and a new reserve officer went above and beyond the call of duty in saving someone's life. So the letter goes, this letter of commendation is presented this 11th day of June 2018 to Officer Mike Dwyer of the West Newbury Police Department for his quick and professional actions by responding to a call for a resident who had overdosed on drugs and was in respiratory failure. Because of his quick actions and his ability to give CPR and to administer multiple doses of Narcan, Officer Dwyer was able to save the life of a man at his home. You were able to remain calm and professional throughout the entire incident, which prevented any further serious medical issues. This letter of commendation is being awarded to you for your display of true professionalism, courage, commitment to serve to your community of West Newbury. So tonight, on behalf of the police department, I'd like to commend Officer Mike Dwyer for his heroic deed that went a couple of weeks ago for saving a resident of the town of West Newbury. So this is the type of professionalism and commitment that I'd like to see from within the department displaying to obviously the residents and the rest of the police department. So Mike, on behalf of the police department, I'd like to congratulate you. And with that, with the accommodation, Mike is also being given the life-saving award ribbon, which will be displayed on his uniform. Mike would be the second officer since I started 2.5 years ago that's been awarded this. So it's kind of a prestigious award. Obviously, it kind of goes again above and beyond the call of duty of saving another human life. So again, kudos to Mike for doing this. Mike?
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Hey, what? Can I get a picture of you giving it to him?
Sure. Picture.
Thank you. Okay.
Good. Thanks, Joe.
During one of our next meetings, the second officer that assisted Mike will be here because of his full-time obligations as a firefighter. He was not able to make it tonight, so we'll do his another night.
Yep, we got the word. Thank you.
Second thing is this will be a twofer for Mike for tonight, so get our money's worth out of him. Through a lot of, I think, soul searching on his part and a lot of convincing on my part, Mike and I came to the conclusion that he is probably going to be best suited for our next school resource officer. Mike is basically the mayor of the town, as well as the fire chief and obviously a patrol officer. And we have talked quite lengthy about the job and obviously my passion of the job, because I think it's what's gotten to me where I am today, because I've become a little bit more well-rounded because of being the school resource officer. So I think this is going to help Mike professionally, but beyond that, I think it's really going to help the kids. He won't have as much, I guess, of a hill to climb down there because he pretty much is the mayor of the town. So I think that's really kudos for him of growing up in town, and it's coming full circle. So I really think this is a quantum leap for everybody, but especially for Mike. This would be, I think, one of the pinnacle things of his career, and I think it will certainly help him later on in his career, like him and I have talked about before. So I'm really proud to tell the board that Mike is going to be our school resource officer. I've pretty much given him a long leash to make this job, his new job, the best that it could possibly can with almost no limitations on it other than money. I told him I'd give him an extra couple pennies, and he can do whatever he sees fit with the extra pennies with his new job down at the schools. But I'm really proud that Mike really stepped up to this occasion, and I really wholeheartedly believe that he's going to make this one of the better SROs, and there's really not much I'm going to have to do to help guide him, because I think he pretty much knows what the expectations are and what the job is going to be. So,
Terrific.
Again,
Good news.
Mike,
Congratulations, Mike.
congratulations. Yeah.
On the board, on behalf of the Board of Selectmen, thank you for your, obviously great heroism receiving the accommodation and the life-saving pin tonight. And for me personally, I was a little nervous. I was hoping we were going to get somebody, because I was very supportive with the chief when this proposal came up about SRO in our district, because I knew it only can help, and it's just another facet to help our children get through school and to even be better human beings than they already are. So this is terrific news for me, because I think will be a perfect fit, and thank you for accepting it, and in advance, just thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike, yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Is that it, Chief? That
One
was
more
three.
thing. I'm still under my 2.5 minutes.
That was three.
If I could have Reserve Officer Kyle Roy come forward. I know I did send the information to the board about a week and a half ago. Tonight, I'd like the board to appoint Kyle Roy as the next full-time police officer. Kyle has been with us for about 1.5 years now. He will become third-generation police officer. His father is currently a police sergeant in Salisbury, who's about ready to retire, I think, at the end of the summer. And his grandfather was also a police officer, so he'll truly become third-generation police family, which is, I think it's quite a feat. I don't know.
I remember that from when you came in. And
Yeah, you had your whole family here the first time. It was actually really
we
nice.
remember.
So, currently he lives in Amesbury. He grew up in Amesbury, went to high school there. He graduated from the University of Massachusetts with a degree in criminal justice, and it's been his lifelong ambition. It's been a long time since I had that long ambition, about 35 years ago, and to try to remember that feeling that Kyle has now of that quantum leap of becoming a full-time police officer. So I'm proud of Kyle. He's really put his full effort into this, and I have absolutely no reservations recommending him as a full-time police officer for the town of West Newbury. And he's just done an excellent job. I've told Kyle, and I've had many talks with his father, if I had a few more like Kyle, who seems always have a smile on his face, always willing to talk positively, I'd be living the dream as a police chief. So his first goal is to find a couple more like him once he becomes full-time, because it's really a pleasure to have Kyle as a reserve, and I know it'll even be better once he becomes full-time. So I don't know any more kudos I could possibly give Kyle, other than Kyle was the first officer and the first recipient of the Life-Saving Award. So,
I remember that.
and Kyle did that right when he first came on. So I guess a lot of good things are rubbing off between what his grandfather did and his father did for Kyle.
So,
Do you want to make the appointment?
I just want to ask him one question. I know Chief Reed vetted some, that's not what this is about. I always ask any full-time officer, why do you want to be a full-time officer in West Newbury?
I've worked here for 1.5 years. I love the town. It's got a small town feel. You can actually do things in the community, like certain events, like the parade or like a food drive.
Mm-hmm.
I did the food drive, had a lot of fun. Make contacts in the community.
Oh, at the food mart. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, you make contacts in the
I
community.
took your picture there too.
Yep. So, so I love the town. Wouldn't want to work for anywhere else other than
I
here.
was just curious.
Anything else?
So this is a one-year appointment? So I move to appoint Kyle Roy as a full-time police officer for 1 year, so I guess that's through June 11th, 2019.
Can we make it, we can't make.
It's 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and been seconded. Is there any discussion?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, Kyle.
Congratulations.
Yes.
Good to have you on board full time.
Let me get a quick
We need another picture for, social media, we gotta get it. Everybody's gonna wanna know the new face of the person gonna give them a ticket on Main Street.
Yeah, I have to get it out there before, the Daily News goes to print. No, I'm kidding.
The swearing in, for those that might be around, will be at 11 o'clock tomorrow here, just in
Okay.
case one of the board members are
Thank
around.
you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle, you're getting sworn in tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It's probably, our absence isn't gonna be, it's because we have to work full-time jobs. It's not because we don't support you. So we'll try to make it, but if we're not here, we wanna be here. We'll be here in spirit. Okay, Mike, are you gonna speak about the ambulance contract, or can I push that to the end? You have much to say about it? Are you gonna be here?
I don't think it's gonna be long.
Okay, so I'm gonna,
Let's do it now.
okay, I just wanted to get the regional thing, because I'm gonna leave. So I'm gonna, I have a conflict with, I have a
Conflict of interest.
conflict of interest with this. I have a family member that works for Cataldo, so I'm gonna actually step out of the room while they talk to the chief and talk about our ambulance contract. Okay, so if Joe's, I'm gonna hand it over to Joe.
Archie.
No, Archie's the clerk.
Okay, whatever.
have to be-
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Archie, you do it, Archie.
Mike, can you come up?
Mike, you want to come up? Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a pretty straightforward contract. Are there any concerns you have with, it's Atlantic now, right?
Atlantic doing business is, Cataldo doing business
They
is
acquired,
Atlantic.
right.
Yeah. We made some changes last time, talking about community events, making sure that they were going to be providing us service for all that. They've honored that. Anytime we've called them for a service for the apple harvest race, they provide us with an ALS ambulance, no charge, for as long as we need. So that was the big push on our end.
I mean, I've seen them out there.
Yep.
When we have events.
How about the response times? Been happy with that?
Response time has been fine. I think that you're going to find with any ambulance company, you're going to get some days that they're right on the mark for us, and other days they're going to be located in other areas of their response network.
What happened were there any issues during the snowstorms or anything?
They covered at our station for all the blizzards, so we were fortunate enough to have them as long as we needed, start to finish, which was great.
So what's the response time, just off the top of your head, I know you don't have it in front of you, but the average response time range? So like if there's a medical emergency at, next to Glenn, I was gonna say his address, but I won't say that. If there's that
Yeah.
end of town, what's the kind of quickest and most lengthy?
Right, so most of the time they're responding from the Newburyport area.
Yeah.
The furthest away they're going to be responding is out of Salisbury. The furthest response location in our town is going to obviously be further on the west side of town. That's the most extreme location that they're going to respond to.
Yeah, I was trying to give like an average.
So
middle.
between 4 and 6 minutes, we are out the door with our rescue to respond to a medical aid call. They're toned the same time.
Okay, so you're out the door in 4 to 6 minutes, and you're there in 6 to 8 minutes?
Could be anywhere from 2 to 4 minute response time.
Yeah.
Depending on the location of town. They're usually, we're seeing right around 10 minutes, 12 minutes for them to arrive on scene. Where we've made some adjustments is at Pentucket, especially during the school day. We've used our mutual aid partners at the same time to respond. So we have Merrimack responding along with Atlantic. So in the event that they're going to be a little bit further on the timeline to get to the school, we have Merrimack coming, which they're a good 4 minutes, 5 minutes away. And during the weekday, they have staffing at the advanced level. Their backup is Georgetown and Byfield. So if Merrimack is unable to respond, Byfield ambulance responds, or the ambulance out of Georgetown, which is pretty close when you're considering their station to Pentucket. So we actually double up on a response to the west side of town because there's
So, stupid
potential for
question, but
delay.
Georgetown and Byfield both, they transport people out.
Yes, they have ambulances, yep. Georgetown has a basic ambulance, basic life support. Byfield and Merrimack have advanced life support, so ALS.
Okay. I mean, if somebody's having a heart attack, that's a pretty critical situation.
Absolutely.
so-
All seconds count. We're fortunate because with our department, we have especially at night, that seems to be for call fire departments, that seems to be the really tough time of response next to the daytime. But we're fortunate that at night we have really strong response times, thanks to Ben Janelle. And then we have during the day we have a large number of people that are available throughout the daytime too. So, absolutely, seconds count. We're fortunate that for a call department we get there in a really quick response time. And thanks to our mutual aid partners, they're supporting us too as well.
Right. No, I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
You're the expert, not me, but I'm out and about and I do watch and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And I do see what you just said, so
Yeah.
makes sense. So back to the contract.
Mhm.
Are there any things we should be asking them for?
I think that what's in the contract is pretty solid. I think that anything more, we're probably going to be looking at some cost. I think over the next few years, it would be worth investigating some additional support from them or from an ambulance provider. We're looking at that right now. We're looking at some of the options with our municipal partners that have ambulance services as well for, again, giving the town and the residents the best support that they need.
One of the items on here, Mike, was at the bottom of the first page. It says CPR training for all town employees. So are we taking advantage of that? Have they been doing that?
So we can call their training division at any time and set up training opportunities for the town. We had some people in-house that were CPR certified that were doing it for the time being. But when we need it, they'll provide that service to us. So.
Okay.
So what's the procedurally with this? Are they coming in to see us, or are we just sending this to them? Or
I would say that the board would vote to authorize us to offer them the same contract. Do you want it for 3 years or any
I
period
would.
of time?
Yeah.
Yep.
And send that to them and have them sign it and come back for your signatures for the next week. So.
Okay. I mean, I'm basically relying. You have anything else?
I'm good.
I have a question though. Mike, are they still located in Newburyport? Their office?
Their base is the same location, right near the train station.
The second thing is that I don't think they've been doing it. I don't know if it's a big deal, but
The reports.
the reports are not coming.
That's always been the
We
sticking
haven't
point.
got any reports.
We get them when we ask. That's-
Yeah, I've been getting reports because I've been doing a lot of work with them to try to iron out mutual aid response. I can certainly make sure that is, I mean, if you're comfortable with me
I
overseeing
think
that
that the-
documentation, I can forward it to the board
Yeah,
or vice
I mean,
versa.
it might be easier if you could ask, they could send it electronically. That might
Yeah.
be easier for them and easier for you, because then they could do it all in one fell swoop.
Correct.
And of course, I'm gonna volunteer Mary to collect them also.
I would.
I have one question. They have the CPR training, is that AED as well?
Yeah, that would be, that's gonna be your first responder based training, yeah.
So,
All right.
what you do is to vote.
Yeah, so I move to extend a contract offer to Atlantic Ambulance Service for a 3-year term with the current terms and conditions.
Second. Further discussion? All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
wait a second, we do have a question.
This just kind of came up at Selectmen's meeting before. Have you discussed at all the closing of the road over by Plummer Spring or whatever it is?
As far as the closure of the road and how it impacts the fire department?
No, the ambulance response.
time.
My bigger concern is obviously the ambulance is well equipped to detour around that that location. But my number one concern is always going to be if a road's closed, it's a serious concern that I have as the fire chief. More importantly, that's an area that we use to draft water. So we utilize that water supply to fight fires in that side of town because there are no hydrants. That is a concern to us because we need to be able to access that location to provide water to our tanker or to tankers that are responding to help us fight fires. And the same thing goes for Newburyport. That Newburyport side of town, we would be going the long way around if either one of our departments were fighting a fire in that area. So it is absolutely concerned that ambulance will have to now detour from that location, especially where it's kind of a straight shot to the Anna Jakes Hospital, utilizing Hale Street. But my big concern is the fact that that's an area that we utilize for drafting water for firefighting operations.
For that side of town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
So, cool.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. And congratulations again.
Oh, thank you.
When do you start? Immediately or wait for school?
School year.
When's he start art? Tomorrow? I'm kidding.
Okay, let's move on to, we have regional housing plan for the Merrimack Valley proposed by the MVPC. Come on up, guys, please. That one actually is not on. If you want to sit here, and you can take that one with you, you have to.
How they get turned off?
Is it out of battery?
Yeah, why did?
Good.
Bad finger.
Do you want to grab that one up there, sir, or you can have your own if you're going to speak?
I'm Brian Murphy, member of the Planning Board. I'm also the town's representative to the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. And tonight we have Mike Parquette from the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission. Mike's the comprehensive planning manager and headed up the housing production plan that was done not only for us but for each of the other towns in the Merrimack Valley District. Mm-hmm. And he'll speak to that. I think the idea is he can give a short or a very lengthy dissertation on this and respond to your questions or whatever you may have.
Why don't you give us the short one, and then if we have any questions,
That'll be
you can
fine.
get as long as we need it to be. But sir, you need to press your button. I can see that it's red and not green.
We also just have,
Thank you.
here tonight, we have Ann Bardine and Ray Cook from the Planning Board if you have some other questions that more specific.
So Brian, like just to ground everybody, the public that watching on TV, what is it that we're discussing, and is there a decision to be made about it, just so people?
Yes, this is a plan that the town had a housing production plan in place, and it expired a couple of years ago. And it's really about the goals that the town sets or feels we should move towards in terms of housing and planning efforts. It's not a requirement, but it is a compilation of population statistics and also forward projections of growth or shrinkage of a town.
Is there some kind of voter approval that needs to be taken, or is this just
No,
information?
we would be seeking your approval of the plan, as the planning board has approved this. And I think Mike can probably speak to that. They are tasked with obtaining approval from all of the towns for this plan, which was done at no cost to this town. And that is a requirement of the grant that they were given by the Commonwealth for this, and Mike can certainly
This
elaborate.
gets approved by the Department of Housing and Community Development. And to speak to the process is that we developed a plan through a number of public hearings in the towns and meetings and such. And then it gets adopted first by the planning board, and then it goes through the board of selection, the board of selectmen for their adoption. And once the two boards have adopted it, then we send it on to the state for their approval. That's a process. And I can give you more background into what the plan is, what it does. As you probably know, you you developed a housing production plan in 2010, so you're familiar with what a housing production plan does. And in essence, what the plan does that we put together for the 14 communities out of the 15 communities in the region. The reason we did do the 15th is because they had hired a consultant to do it 2 months before we started this, and so they simply stayed with the consultant that they had hired. But we did a housing production plan for the 14 other communities in the region. And what the housing plan does, it takes a look at each individual community. It examines the demographics. It examines the type of housing that has been built. So it really analyzes a lot of current data. We use the most current data there is, and we also take a look at any existing plan that you have in your file, whether it's your open space park recreation plan, whether it's a current master plan, the older housing production plan. So we look at any plan that's already been developed, because in those plans there's normally talk about housing in other plans that have been done. So we use data that already exists, and that has gone through the needs process. So you've already vetted that, so to speak, and you've identified certain needs in the community and how to address those needs. So we take all of that data, and then we put together strategies for how best to meet the growing needs of the community. And one thing we have been finding in all the communities is that the baby boom generation, of which I'm a part of, it was a huge segment of the population, anyone born between 1946 and 1964. It's a lot of people, and we're all getting older. And what we're finding in all the communities is that those people want to stay where they are. They don't want to move to Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, as much as they used to in the past.
And
they
the
want to stay.
And the housing doesn't exist to fulfill the need. Is that where you're leading?
Yeah, we have to develop housing for those people who do want to stay. They want to stay, but they don't want their 5-bedroom, 5-bath home anymore. They may want a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home on a much smaller lot because they don't want to maintain that 2-acre lot. So we look at that kind of data, and then we put together strategies to address those needs that we have found. And that in a nutshell is what the housing plan does.
Okay.
Mike has a handout here if you're
PowerPoint that I had
interested.
put together that
That'd be great. How many do you have?
I had plenty.
You have plenty?
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Well,
I
I
just
have
didn't
about
hear.
10 of them.
Yeah, I just want to make sure Mary got one,
Yep.
just for the records. Because sometimes when we get things, we kind of lose them.
Thank you.
I went over this kind of with Mike. Mike, do you have any specific, I mean, you kind of went over it. Do you have any questions about it? Now, has the planning board already adopted this?
Yes, and we have.
And I guess you answered my question, needs being one of those, affordable housing, I guess, or those are the type of needs. So what would a town do with this plan? Would they hypothetically form a committee, look into it, understand the housing that we have, and then maybe have a committee that says, hey, let's do an outreach program to the community and find out what the needs are? You understand what we have, then let's now try to find out what the needs are and what the needs might be in the future, and then try to mold them together and have some type of plan, a quasi plan that goes, we put them both together and say, hey, this is where we are, these are the needs of the community, and this is where we want to be in 20 years?
You can form some kind of housing committee, a housing trust. You can use existing staff. You have a town planner, and the strategies that are in the plan. The hope is that those get implemented over the course of the next 5, 6, 7 years or so. So there's strategies, detailed strategies on what can be done to address the needs that we have outlined and we have found using American Community Survey data and things like that.
Ray, you had a question, but you need to have a microphone, please.
Just briefly, what you said is what the plan does. So the plan has already collected a lot of the data to see where we are, and then the plan also has a lot of strategies to get where we want to go. So if you form a housing committee, I think you can get more specific to West Newbury in particular, you could refine this plan and pick and choose between the goals and prioritize them. But basically, this is the first good cut of that.
In a regional aspect, right?
No, this is for West Newbury itself. So
So how did you go out and get, like, I mean, when you say, the 46 to 1946 to 1964 baby boomers, they want to downscale. So you did some research in this particular town and said, hey, there are a segment of people that definitely want to downscale, or is that just a trend that's happening, like in the nation or in the Northeast or in the state?
it's a trend that's happening in this region.
Okay, so it's both. Yeah, well, I understood that, but I mean.
And addressing, when we went to public hearings, that is what we're being told by the people who attended public hearings, people who chimed in on the social media that we had set up. It's called Co-Urbanize. A lot of people, as you know, don't come out to public meetings. They don't
Absolutely
come out
not.
to public hearings. So we used a site called Co-Urbanize where we could have discussions with people. They could chime in and offer any comment that they wanted to. And we got, I think, over 350 comments from various people around the region on the plan, on a regional basis and on individual town basis.
Got it. You have any questions?
Not right now.
Yeah, I mean, I do. Just obviously, this isn't. It's hard to answer this, but we're talking about the existing housing stock of the town as it is now. So, from what the data you're presenting, you're saying, okay, someone that's now an empty nester doesn't want the 5-bedroom house. I understand that. So, but to jump from there to them having, wanting a smaller condo or rental unit or something in the town, it's a very big jump to, like, we're not going to discard all that housing, we're not tearing those down. So, I mean, there's a lot of, it's very hard to make dramatic changes in the housing stock of a community. We don't have old mills that can be rehabbed or factories, something that someone converts to rental housing, say like in Haverhill. So I understand the facts, but getting to an action plan is very difficult.
And that's why we put together the strategies to try to help you get to the point you may have to go to. Now, we've taken a snapshot, we've looked at projections, but there's a lot of different things that can happen to the economy, to other things that can change what happened. If you took population projections back in 2005 and 2006, they would have showed you one thing. Well, what
huge growth. Yeah.
Yes, and what we didn't predict,
and it was completely wrong.
Was the recession. So things happen, things evolve and change, and that's why this can be a living, breathing document. You implement the strategies that you need to implement to get where you, as a community, wants to go. And part of the large housing stock you have with single-family homes, family sizes are getting much smaller. I grew up with 5 children in my family. I had 3 children. My kids are 30, 32, and 34. 2 are married. I have no grandchildren yet, and that's typical of what is happening. Is the younger generations are waiting much longer to get married and waiting much longer to have children, and when they have children, they have 1 or 2. They're not having 5 like I grew up with. So it's things that change.
The things that the town can do, and then the market does it itself, as you could see with the development that was on Whetstone Street. That I don't think anybody 15 years ago would even conceive that something like that would go down there. But I think that some initiatives that the planning board did with some open space permitting and being allowed to have, would allow something like that for people to downsize. So we could do some community and development, stuff like that. I have a question about the money. So we have, if I'm misspeaking, please correct me. we have some type of money somewhere that, that the gentleman gave us in lieu of affordable housing. All right?
Right.
Yeah, Navy.
Right.
Right? And that money is sitting somewhere.
Yep.
And now, could that money be used to do some initiatives to try to maybe strategically implement some of the suggestions that are in this plan?
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah, it can.
And naturally within legal constraints and whatnot. And that's one of the items I think noted clearly in here is that the housing trust or the housing committee could be the moving force behind something like that. And there are statutory requirements and all that
Yeah,
come
I
into
know-
play. But yes, your question is right on. We haven't spent money for housing, affordable housing on, from the CPC funds, for example.
Correct.
And it
We're-
appears, I'm sorry.
We're not gonna solve if there's 100 people in town that wanna downsize, we're not, frankly, it's a noble goal. It's not, you're gonna take a piece of the pie, and I think that's the idea, that we can do something. I think through the planning effort, we've done smaller units, cottage units, they've been well-received. I mean, maybe some people don't like looks or whatever, but they've sold, and I think they're
A
gonna
lot
be
better than I thought.
fine
They had to have
addition
been
to
well
town.
received.
Yes. And I think that is interesting. Frankly, those were far more expensive than I would have hoped, but we can't do anything about market rate. It's
We live in a very expensive
Right.
part of the world.
And I know, it appears you used to have a housing committee.
Correct. I was on that committee.
Couple of different ones.
Okay.
And we had these wonderful ideas about bringing affordable housing into town, and then when we brought it to the town, they wanted to burn our houses down, and.
Yeah, I heard that at public
You know what I mean?
meetings.
And,
You're right.
and quite
I did hear
honestly, I
that.
think enough time has elapsed
Yeah.
that
Maybe.
that good feeling that you have, thinking that you're going to do something for the community, we can get some people back in and not, because it always seems to be, everybody wants to do it until, like everything in life, until it's in their neighborhood.
And that-
We specifically bought, we have a lot of land, one of them that we bought
Specifically for that.
for that. We bought it for $1 million, and it's sitting over there, and I thought it was a pretty good project, but turned into,
And you're not alone in that regard.
no,
But to that point, there's data in here and commentary that provide current support to the thinking of aging population needs. And if you can get 5 willing citizens to sit on a committee again, and
but maybe something that was been talked about, we should do something more smaller scale, like what you mentioned. We're not going to be able to fix it overnight, but do a community with a profit, in the community. We have,
More of a baby step and get a win.
yeah, maybe a couple of duplexes where we could partner with
it's a great idea.
use some town land, right? Or some, I'm not saying giving it away, but you know what I mean? So we can start incentivizing some construction people come in here and just do baby steps and then see how well it works. And then people aren't going to be so afraid that they're having low-income housing. No, it's not low-income, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just so then understand it's a good program and it does work and they might even want to be part of it.
And that is one of the strategies, frankly, is to consider putting zoning in place to allow 2 families, 3 families. We're not saying you need 200-unit apartment buildings, because that
No.
wouldn't fit into the character of the community. But a duplex, that might work.
There are gorgeous duplexes that are in Newburyport that look like, historic, buildings, so. Okay, do we have any more questions? Thank you for doing it, thank you for coming in. But like these things, like we say about the policies that sometimes we enact and they sit on a shelf somewhere. This probably shouldn't, this was nice and everybody gets all excited about it and then nobody does anything about it. So if you have any, if the planning board has any good ideas about trying to maybe move on with this and maybe get another committee together and maybe go forth, we'd love to listen to that. At least I would.
And any members of the public that aren't here now.
Correct. Yeah, definitely.
Get in touch with us.
I think we'd be happy to share
They need to use
that wisdom and information with anyone who, has a passion about this.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Dan Barton, planning board. I just wanted to say that I'm not sure whether it was clear, but the planning board did vote to adopt this.
Yes.
Yeah, they said
At our
that.
May 1st meeting, and we would love to have you vote to adopt it as quickly as this evening.
Well, I think we're gonna do it right now, unless anybody has, I just was trying to wrap it up, and just didn't want it to sit on a shelf somewhere, you know what I mean, because those type of things do. You have any more questions? You
Nope,
ready?
I'm good.
Mike, you have any questions on that respect?
No, I just point out there's a kind of a carrot here. Is one of the reasons that they've had this is the idea that if the community follows the recommendations, meaning the numbers of affordable units over a period of years, they can actually apply for exemption from any 40B.
Correct.
That's a carrot that they have. It's a tough goal, though. I mean,
Yeah, you have to have 10% of your housing stock be affordable housing,
Well, I mean, it's the
or you
idea
have to
that-
be part of a plan trying to get towards it.
right.
Exactly. And that's pointed out in the plan,
But-
how many affordable units you would have to build on a yearly basis to free
Even,
yourselves from that.
even when we build 10% of new, it's treading, it's not,
Yeah,
it's
but-
not
Right.
bumping the total.
I'm not even sure you could say you're treading
The-
water.
Yeah, we're going down
the
because of the building.
denominator is getting bigger
Right.
at the same time.
In 2020, we'll have new census data. and
I think
we'll
it's
count
the
all the new
denominator.
units that have been built since 2010.
Yeah.
But there are aspects of it where people selling their homes, or smaller homes, or low-priced homes, then they could get the deed restrictions. They, you know, we don't have to build new homes either. Town could acquire homes that are already in the inventory
Exactly right.
and make them affordable. There's a lot of ways that we could do stuff.
I do want to add, I think one of the very positive aspects, I know you've had experience and realize the Merrimack Valley planning is a good resource. This opportunity that they have is the first being done in the Commonwealth, doing a regional housing plan, as well as specific plans for the towns within, that they deal with. And we're hopeful, Mike just told me he submitted a grant. They want to become much more involved in the housing arena, and to that end, this grant is for a part-time housing coordinator, or
Yeah,
someone to
so
help
this
help
was-
keep the records.
This plan and the 14 out of 15 ones that you did came from a grant,
Correct.
correct?
Yes, yes,
Yeah?
yes.
Yes.
A
This-
state grant or a federal grant?
State, there's a big push right now, as I'm sure you realize, to build more housing in Massachusetts. We have such a shortage, there's a huge demand and a very small supply, so there's been, it started with the previous administration, this governor has joined forces and he's pushing for more housing. So an opportunity presented itself for us to apply for some money to try to hire a regional housing coordinator to help all of the 15 communities in our region implement these plans that we have just developed. And that's what we're gonna try to do.
Okay. So I make a motion that we accept the West Newbury Housing Plan presented tonight by the Merrimack Valley Planning Commission.
Second.
Any question? Been moved and seconded, no more discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, the next thing on our agenda is the FY19 wage schedule. We had made some corrections, asked them to be fixed, and then brought back to us. Do you have any questions on them? Joe?
Let's see how good a job they did.
Excuse me?
Let's see how good a job they did.
Oh, okay. I thought you'd all have it already. I'm just trying to. Art, do you have any questions on it?
No.
I think she did a good job updating everything that we asked.
Correct.
There
And
was-
adding some people?
Yep, there was one person she forgot to add, not that it's a minor person, it's a reserve police officer, Cameron Short, I think was just inadvertently left off the list. So I would, if you guys are okay with this, I would move to approve the fiscal year 2019 wage schedule with the addition of Cameron Short as a reserve police officer.
Second.
Okay. Discussion.
Go ahead.
We just made some appointments tonight, an appointment tonight, so we have to make sure.
The appointment of Kyle Roy
Roy.
is here.
As a
And
full-time?
Mike is on here as.
Okay.
Mike is on here, it says school resource officer, I'm not sure how the pay split goes, I know there's a pay split with Pentucket. It's
Correct.
He's listed at his normal,
So
normal salary.
I would actually I would like to know what that pay split is gonna be.
Well, it's-
I'm gonna, just if we, let's vote on this.
Yep.
But that's a caveat, a sidebar that we could say, hey, I wanna know what that pay.
Glenn, it's just the hourly rate, we're not, you can't change that anywhere.
No, I don't wanna change it. I'm just, for my own information, I wanna know what that pay split's gonna be.
Yeah, the wage.
just don't want that to
The wage
fall.
scale is the rate, it's not who pays it, like Pentucket.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're okay.
Yeah, but I'm
It's
just
not where the
saying,
money comes from.
I understand. Like I said, this had nothing to do with it, but it just prompted me. I like to know what that split's gonna be. That's it.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
You wanna make a motion, Joe?
I just did.
We just
He
did,
seconded.
Did you second it?
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry about that. Aye. Appointments. I gotta get a new pair of glasses that are bifocals. I can't see anything with these things on there. Okay, you got your new ones. You got your new one after the one that you got tonight?
I didn't get the new one, no.
It's in your mailbox. It was in your mailbox.
You got one earlier, then you got a new one.
No,
You got just a new one? Okay, never
Mine
mind.
says 510. That's what I've
The
got.
new one is the one that was in our
You've got
mailbox at 5 o'clock?
Glenn's got mine, he's got two.
Okay,
Glenn, you've got two.
Dated 6/11.
Yep.
that's what I have,
Well,
yes.
can I have one of them?
No, they're different. They feel.
Actually, you didn't have one in your pocket?
No, Glenn's got mine.
Mahog.
It's
Okay.
611 and 611.
This one just felt thicker than
Wasn't it?
Just
Okay.
Okay.
So how do you want to do this, Mr. Chairman?
Mary, is there anything that you need to tell us or anything you'd like to tell us about your presentation of this document before we start? Anything that you feel that we need to know, or anything like that?
What's
Because I don't want to start going and then being told to stop.
What's yellow mean?
Yellow means that Mary has reached out to them and asked them if they want to be reappointed, but she has not heard back from them yet.
Okay.
That's correct.
So just don't vote on anything yellow.
Right, exactly.
Okay?
Yeah, I just tried to put the new term, you've got a column at the end, it's the new term, to try to give you some guidance on that.
So, Mike, would it be appropriate, instead of going through every name, I would like to appoint all the names on page 1?
Sure, if you just,
Unless there's any holds.
Yeah. And then you say the exceptions.
So on-
just, in the document, page 1 of
Yeah, page 1 of,
14,000.
2017.
Well, it's supposed to say 2018, I just.
yeah,
don't know.
it's actually supposed to say 2018.
So on the
Appointment
first
list
page-
dated 6/11. That good enough? Yeah. Okay, so let's try this. Okay, you ready to try it?
Yeah, let's just go through if there's holds, yeah.
Let's do a trial run on the first page. You ready?
Do it.
Make a motion to approve all the appointments of the 2018 appointment list that's dated 6/11/2018 on page 1, with the exception of David Lapierre.
Second,
Got a good way of doing it?
that's good.
Happy with that?
The other is the planning board associate member as an open position.
Is that on page 1?
It's the first, yes.
It's crossed off.
It's crossed
It's
off,
crossed
so.
out, okay. Yeah, I just ignored that.
And
Yeah,
she's
and-
working on a notice for the website, to put that out there.
Okay, yep, but that's.
Okay, so we have a change already, so Kyle has just been made a full-time officer, so he's no longer a reserve officer.
Right, and he's
Correct.
already been appointed.
Correct. He's already been appointed.
So for this list, he could be removed, but his name needs to be moved up.
Mm-hmm. You feel comfortable with all that, gentlemen?
Yes.
It's been moved and it's been seconded.
Well, I have mine. There are 2 reserve officers, Christopher DePietro and Brian, I don't know how to say his name, Warren, W-A-R-N-E.
He retired.
Did he?
Yeah.
He's still getting paid.
He's still getting paid, or he's still on the wage schedule?
I had this.
Brian
week's-
won't,
I had,
Brian won't retire.
okay, let me check, hold on. I had this week's payroll, that's what I was looking at, that's what I was cross-checking it with. And I don't have it with me, so never mind. We'll check on it. Okay, I'll take off Brian and just have Christopher, and I'll check on
And
it.
I'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Well, you're taking off who?
No, you're not taking, no, you're not taking it
You don't have
out.
it on your list.
You know, okay.
We're
you're not
adding,
taking
we're
it off.
adding Christopher DePietro to your list for reserve officers.
Because I got this list from the PD.
Well,
So they might have missed it, yeah. DePietro?
check with the chief.
Okay,
He's listed on the, like Joe says, he's listed on the wage.
Well, I think a bigger thing is if you're just looking at
Yeah.
payroll, is his name on the front list? Either one of them.
Okay,
this isn't going well.
you have to get it right, we're trying to.
We have to get it right.
I agree. No, I'm saying my method, I agree, but I'm just saying my method wasn't.
Well, I think,
Then why don't we just wait on that, you know what I mean?
why don't you
These
just
questions.
look, we'll get.
Brian Warren retired.
Okay, I stopped debating that.
Yeah.
Archie, there's a list.
I got it.
Okay.
My hands aren't finding it. Okay, here's the police, we've got.
But this doesn't mean anything, he's a reserve officer, he might not have worked, and he still could be, you know what I mean? But you're saying
Well,
you saw his
if he's
name.
gotten paid, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Christopher,
but he's a reserve officer, he might not have
Okay,
worked in that.
he's listed, but this particular pay
Yeah,
period,
that's what I mean.
he got
he,
nothing.
he who?
Christopher DePietro.
Okay. Got nothing? Okay, then leave them off and we'll check on both of them with the chief.
You ready?
Okay.
I want to ask you a quick, I want to say something. I think there might be some lag in the accounting in the people who retired, so.
Well, I was looking, and I obviously made a mistake, I was looking for people that only got paid.
Yeah, I
So
understand that,
I'm
but
gonna-
I'm just telling you that they might have people still on the wage schedules,
Yep,
but they don't work here any longer. And so,
Yep.
Correct,
yeah, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're back to my original motion. Joe seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that's the first page.
Second page, I have
Okay,
no-
Mary, first page, the only person we did not appoint was David Lapierre, okay?
Conroy.
David LaPierre.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael McCarron, town clerk.
And Kyle Roy is not a reserve officer. And we already appointed him, okay?
Yep.
Okay? There has been a question about, the individuals that were previously appointed by the finance director, who was gonna appoint those? The Board of Selectmen will be appointing them until the new, the new town manager comes into place.
Right, because there is no longer a finance director per the legislation.
I talked to Mike about that,
Is
okay?
that a one-year appointment?
Should we just make it a one-year appointment, and
Is that what it
then,
normally is?
Usually 3 years.
and it's a
You
three,
can make it
it's a 3-year,
Okay. So make it for 3 years.
okay? So we're on page 2. I'm gonna make a motion that we appoint every single person on page 2 of the 2018 appointment list that's dated 6/11/2018.
Second.
Any questions?
Nope.
Questions? Archie? Sure. Oh. Where did you get this list?
From the emergency management, Leanne?
I want to hold off on this, okay?
Why?
'Cause I do. Just,
Okay. So we're voting the dispatchers on the top of the page though, still? You're holding off on EMA. What are you holding off on?
yeah. Why don't we do just the just the dispatchers, please?
Okay, so you're gonna amend your motion to just include the part-time dispatchers.
Correct.
Second.
I'm just making sure that, to Joe's point, that there were this other, do we have all the part-time dispatchers here?
Yes, well, you're welcome to look. I did.
If Mary's getting these lists from the person who's in charge of our part-time dispatchers and they're wrong, we got a bigger problem in this town than
It's happened before.
just appointing people.
Okay.
Clerical? No, I'm just pointing out. You want me to show you what I pointed out?
Just tell me what it is.
That one person doesn't have a conflict of interest and they're supposed to, in the town.
They should have it said they have a conflict.
No. Everybody has to have a conflict of interest, and we're doing the town dispatches, but that person doesn't have it, but it's not. So what do you want to do? Because he amended my motion by doing part-time dispatchers. Are you going to appoint them and then have them get it in?
They're new, I believe.
Okay,
Yes,
just want to make sure, because we had that policy, Okay.
That's up to you.
So it's been moved and seconded. Can we move on with this?
Yep.
Just the dispatchers on page second. Got it?
Second.
It's been
All in favor?
moved and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we have a question because we have a letter that our inspector of wiring is gave us notice, Larry Fisher. You get that?
Yes.
But Glenn Closey asked to have him appointed, so we're gonna just appoint him, and then he's gonna, give his resignation, when he's done. He said Glenn wants to keep him because we don't have anybody, and he's willing to do a transition,
To fill in when
to
necessary.
fill in when needed, so we have to appoint him. Adam, can you come up, because it doesn't look like Archie's microphone's working. Okay?
Yep.
So if I just bring that out because you might question it when we do it. Okay? Anything else?
Nope.
So, make a motion to appoint everyone on page 3 of the 2018 appointment list that's dated 6/11/2018, except for the people that have been crossed out and the ones that are in yellow.
Second. So including this whole list.
Including emergency management on the top two?
Not including that.
No, not including the emergency management. We're not doing emergency management. It starts with the finance committee, but we don't have anybody. Okay, any questions?
Cool.
You what?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh. Do we want to reorganize our committees and stuff that we sit on, or do we care? You want to just go forward, because like this personnel committee that I'm on, that's one that I'm going to be appointed to, and that's one that we kind of all divvy up. Do you want to just change that? You know how we restructure and somebody's on, or you want to?
I've been on the capital improvements committee for like always, and
Okay,
I'd
okay.
like to not.
I make a motion to, that we appoint Joe Anderson to the Capital Improvements Committee. I'm just looking for a second. Oh, I got somebody else here.
I've done it, he's done it.
I've done it.
Second.
I can decline.
For discussion, you really don't want to do it?
Not really.
Okay, can we do this? I was just making a joke. I rescind my, that. Can we do that, can we do our stuff next meeting?
Okay.
You want to do that?
Can we do the Community Preservation Committee meeting? I'd like to have a vote on that. if we could.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, they're asking.
Okay.
Can I just make a comment? This isn't working, but, the personnel committee, I didn't hear from any of them.
Do we need, with the town manager starting, do we need to have a personnel committee?
Yeah. Don't we need a personnel committee even with the town manager starting? Because don't we have a thing that everything has to be gone through the personnel committee?
That we don't
We
do?
still have our personal bylaw.
I think that's
Yeah.
in the bylaws.
Yeah, we have, yeah, Joe, so the answer to that is yes. The answer to that is yes.
Okay.
And hopefully when the town manager starts, that process is actually used, because it doesn't seem to be used as much as it should.
Okay.
What's
I asked the chief about Krista Petro and Brian Ware, and I got an automatic reply. I'm driving right now. I'll get back to you later. That's good.
Okay,
I'm fishing right now.
Fishing.
okay, what do you guys want to do?
Okay. Well, do you want to do?
Okay, one sec. Okay, yeah, so am I. Okay, so stop. We're putting these appointments on hold for 1 second. Okay? Putting them on hold. What committees are we all on? We should have done this beforehand, okay?
I'm on CIC.
CIC.
And the non-existent Pentucket Finance Committee.
Right, and that, yeah.
You know, why
Okay.
do they not meet? Like,
Oh,
it's
just,
in,
okay, is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, what are you on, Joe?
Investment Committee and CPC.
And what am I on? Personnel Committee? And I'm on School Building Committee.
And you're on
Cable.
Yeah, but that's different than this stuff. Okay, school building, okay, so now,
That's it?
yeah, it
For
seems
what,
like,
everybody?
it seems like there'd be more.
Seems like we're missing something.
Well, Glenn, you were on the personnel committee
Yeah, I have that, Personnel Committee and School Building Committee.
and cable.
Yeah, but that's different than this, these are ones that the selectmen have things on. The cable is different. We're talking about the ones that we divvy up every year and we say, okay, you've done that, when we restructure. We neglected to do that when we restructured. Forgot about it. You know what I mean? But,
yeah.
and we're all on the emergency management, so we're not talking about that. The cable is something totally
We're
different.
not on that many committees, which is actually good.
Yeah, okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, you're also on Stormwater Regulation Committee. What?
Another committee that doesn't meet.
yeah, that's fine. I'll just keep it on that one. Gary and I can talk about when it rains, we can go out and look at the stormwater.
That's gonna change this year.
Yep. Okay. So CIC, you don't want to do anymore. You don't want to do, you want to do, the,
CIC, no.
no, I know that. Do you want to do the investment committee still? You want to do the CPC? What do you want to do?
I'd
I'll
rather-
do the investment committee.
Okay, so for you to get out of, for you not to have the CIC, we're going to give him the investment committee. You have a
That's
problem with that?
That's fine.
Okay, so you get the, okay, and then the Pentucket Finance, you still want to do that? You want to be part of that and try to get that thing rolling again?
Not really.
Okay. You still want to be on the CPC?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. And then I still want to be on that building one. And I'll take the capital improvement, I'll take the CIC.
I can do the.
Does this-
I
does-
can do
hold
the
on,
per-
hold on.
and I can do the personnel if you don't wanna do that.
Okay, hold on, does the selectman have to be on that committee, the CIC?
Yes.
Is that the but?
I think it's in the bylaw.
Forget.
Are there certain amount of appointments that you have to fill? Like one person from this committee, that committee, that, you know,
Yes.
that
I
committee?
know a FinCom has to be on the
There's five,
CIC.
the CIC has 5 at-large members. They have 1 member appointed by the Finance Committee and 1 selectman.
Yeah,
There's 7 people.
Yeah, but it could be a selectman or their designee.
I know that's true with the CPC.
Yeah, the CPC, it's that way.
It could be a designated.
It doesn't have to be a selectman.
That's what my notes are.
But we can't put somebody on there that's not a town resident. I was thinking about Angus on there. he should just be effective.
Put on what?
The CIC.
No,
Like before,
he would be
the
ex officio.
finance
Yeah.
director was an ex officio.
He has to be. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so make a motion to put me on the school building one in the CIC.
I move to appoint Glenn Kemper to the school building committee and the capital improvements committee.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. Make a motion to appoint Archie to the investment committee and the personnel committee.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Archie abstains.
Abstain.
Make a motion to appoint Joe to the CPC.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
We're not appointing anyone to the Pentucket Finance Thing Committee because there's no need to it. If they want to do that up again, we'll appoint somebody at that
It was
time.
also part of the receivership thing, which is
Yeah, gone.
ended,
But I
yeah.
thought it was part of the original agreement, too.
It is. It
Yeah,
is.
I thought it was
It is part of the
yeah, I thought it
agreement.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
One member of the board of selectmen.
Got it. We already, okay, so now that's done. Now let's go back to the appointments. Now we're on page 4. Okay?
We are.
Thank you, gentlemen.
So, on page 4, we're taking Glenn Kemper off, crossing Glenn Kemper off of the Personnel Committee, and we already appointed Archie to that, so we don't need to do it again. I would think Judy and Catherine Conn would want to do that, so I'm going to appoint them in anyway, okay?
So can I ask a question? So Mary, as an example, so Jeff Cluley on the Historical Commission, he just hasn't responded if he wants to be reappointed?
That's correct.
Okay.
The manager stop.
Right.
Any emails bouncing back? Are you emailing everybody or mailing it?
Email.
So make a motion to appoint everyone that's not crossed out
Or in yellow.
or in yellow on page 4 of the 2018 appointment list dated 6/11/2018.
Second.
All in favor?
Question.
Yep, sorry.
Is Doc Kavanaugh on the, what committee is that? Historical District Commission?
That should be a
It's-
2021.
Is she a full-time member or an alternate member?
Full-time.
Are you sure? Because she was an alternate. We appointed her in 2017 as an alternate through term ending in through this year.
Yeah, so now she wants to be a full-time member.
Well,
We have enough
this
room?
is the Historic District Commission, has 5 full members and 2 or 3 alternate, is it 2 or 3 alternate members? They have alternate members, but they have 5 full-time. And I think we only actually have 4 currently, so maybe there is room. Do you have it, you don't have a town report, do you?
I have only 2 members on the historic district, but I was told that I'm missing a couple.
Yeah, John Alden, Judith A. Allison, Margaret Dunlap, and Jeff Cluley are the full-time members. And then Dot and somebody else are alternate members. So it does look like there is room for one full,
One full-time.
so it's a 3-year term, so
21.
18, 19, 21, right. So is that what it says?
And it's 21.
Okay, good. All right,
Okay,
fine.
all in favor? Aye. Page 5. We have one, Archie, you have a question coming out of the gate, right?
Yeah. So, under the cultural council, is there a term limitation of it's under John Kavanaugh again, completed 2 3-year terms? Is that the limitation for that?
Yes, when she is crossed out, she can't be.
Oh, so we're crossing her out there?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
sorry. about
So we're
that.
crossing her out there. Okay, thank you, Archie. Make a motion to appoint everyone on page 5 of the 2018 appointment list dated 6/11/2018. except for the ones that we crossed out, which was Dot Kavanagh for the Cultural Council, and the ones in yellow.
Steve Greason resigned from open space?
Yes, he did.
Oh, that's,
Wow,
wow.
wow.
Was there
All
a
in f-
second on that?
All,
Second.
all in favor? Aye. Number 6. Page 6, make a motion, to,
Well, there's one,
Got a lot of yellow here.
yeah, what's up?
on the investment policy committee, Archie's new committee.
Mhm.
So we don't appoint the finance committee rep, the finance committee does. It's currently Forbes,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not our appointment, so we should not make that appointment.
But we need to tell them that they have to.
I think they're already on top of that.
Okay, good.
It was on their agenda.
Okay, so that's crossed off.
Which one did, what was that?
Nick
Nick Delaney.
the finance committee rep for the investment policy committee. They make that appointment, not us. Make a motion to appoint everyone on page 6 of the 2018 appointment list, dated 6/11/2018, that is not in yellow or have not just been crossed out.
Second.
Arthur Wallace had sent me an email today, and he's highlighted, so can we include him in the appointment on that?
Yeah,
Energy advisory.
yeah, and we want to,
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Make a motion to appoint everyone on page 7 of the 2018 appointment list dated 6/11/2018 that is not in yellow. And we have to make a statement that we are not, some of these things say chair next to them. We do not appoint the chair people and stuff. The committees do that. So we're just we're appointing individuals to
the committee.
To the committee. I just don't want people to get confused that we're appointing this page and it says chair on it. Okay? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was not as painful.
Okay. Selectmen meeting minutes?
Where are they?
We didn't have them today. Make a motion to approve the invoice warrants.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. And you have some questions, Mr. Archibald?
Yes,
I actually had 2 questions on them for you.
I got the sticky, so this one is for.
Is the equipment
Is it-
working
look,
properly? Yes.
This is you, is the equipment working? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
We're seriously, because that's a lot of money, that's why I was asking.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's guaranteed
Oh, it is? How much is
for
it?
6 months.
Okay. Yeah, and then.
And it wasn't working properly, and then Adam went through it, and then him and I went through with the guy each particular line on that invoice.
Okay. Then the other question was, and you asked this question too, like what do we do with something when we have it? The taping, I think there was a taping.
Kevin's taping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's the cable advisory committee do with that?
Of what?
The taping they did, the historical taping?
It goes on our YouTube channel, and it goes on our channel. Adam, you want to come up and tell us? I think it's programmed for beginning of the selectmen's, and it was given to Mary to be put on our website.
Oh.
Memorial Day?
Yeah, the Memorial Day.
Yeah, it's on the.
Well, no, there was a new one today, a historical, there was a 10-minute lady, she gave a historical speech, and it said it was one of whatever. What is it?
That's not in there, is it? I didn't approve that. That's not in there.
I don't know what that's for, because he has it. Is that for
This-
the memorial only? Does it say what that's for?
Yeah, Memorial Day parade.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fine, then that's what you said, you answered that.
That's Kevin's
You
thing.
answered that, okay. I was just,
And I'll give you an update on the other thing, if you want.
okay, I was just curious.
Program, but it's the same thing we wanted to do with the trails.
Got ya. Oh, that
You
they
know what I mean?
wouldn't.
We're trying to get more programming and get things into.
Mhm.
Just an example that hopefully with the town manager, we can have more speedy turnaround on invoice warrants and sometimes get the early payment discount, that's all. There's a couple that we could, maybe could even get.
Well, and we do the invoice warrants every 2 weeks because that's when we approve the payroll. I mean, he could approve it every week or every
That's what I
day-
mean.
Every day if he wanted to.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Approving the money to pay for it as it's going out.
Right. So do we vote the invoice warrants?
We have not yet.
Any other stickies on invoices?
We second?
Do you have any more?
I didn't.
No, I'm good.
He's fine.
Okay.
If you moved and been seconded, okay, but hold on for 1 second. There's discussion on this, because that was something I was gonna bring up too, and I was gonna say something in the microphone now. Do you want to have a conversation with Angus when he comes in about that, and ask him about how he wants to proceed, with that?
For what?
About the invoice form. We do it every 2 weeks because
Well, I think I don't know that we need to have a conversation. That's up to him because that's what the legislation says. So, I mean, he could
No,
make.
but it's not up to him, we have to have, Mike, you want to speak to him? Well, I mean, the idea was that you as the Board of Selectmen could set a policy as to how you wanted to handle
Oh,
it.
if we wanted to review it, yes.
Well, I mean, so basically is that what I would think, like you might want to do is say, okay, invoice warrants are paid on Tuesday of the week, so that people have to get their influence warrants in by, say, Thursday, end of
Preceding.
day. And that way, the Board of Selectmen can review them.
If they want to review it, they'll be
And
there.
then they're paid on Tuesday. So the idea is that there'll be a policy that you would enact that would basically systematize it. It wouldn't be like you just approve them as they come in and you would never have a chance to see them. He has the authority to do that, but you would know that, one batch would be completed by a date certain, and then they would start to be paid out 3 or 4 days later.
Do you want to, okay. Do you want to talk about that when he starts and have a talk to him about it?
The point being was not to make a decision tonight, but to start a conversation about it.
Yeah.
Because we had that in the legislation.
Yeah, so let's, on the invoice warrants, let's talk to him when he starts on our first meeting and so that we're doing that together. Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I move to approve the payroll warrant.
Second.
There's our 8 stickers.
There's some signatures that need to be,
Yeah, I've got some, blue stickies that are
white stickers there too.
that from Lori, yeah. These are actually unusual because they're signed by the supervisor, but not by the employee. Couple of them.
So then, like, there's my question again that we always say, how can we pay somebody if they're not gonna sign the time card, because that's the justification for them working? So how do we know they even worked? Well,
Well, that's a good point. They didn't submit a time card, essentially.
well, no, the process we have actually is that, we impose, that's a self-imposed policy. That's not a statutory requirement. The statutory requirement is that the supervisor certify the hours. That's the required signatures. And it could be that people are on vacation, too, so, they not available the day that, they're turning in all the invoices or payment schedules, but
That's
you
true.
can follow up.
That's
But-
true.
But
People do go on vacation, and I have another job where I get paid. And when I go on vacation, I make sure that I take care of that.
yeah,
But that's just me.
Or they get paid 2 weeks late, yeah.
Yeah.
but I mean, that's your policy, not statutory. Statutory is that the person, certify the hours.
Okay. Back up and running. You're not green.
Okay.
You're not green. You're not green.
I know I'm not. So, you guys gonna do this one or what?
Yeah.
Moved and seconded.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
One abstains.
there's a couple of things that I want to add that were unforeseen and transfers. Do you guys have a chance to look at the transfers? It's yes or no?
I don't even have,
I don't have,
Okay,
we don't have.
no, they came in tonight. That was a knock on the door, that these are the transfers that were approved by the FinCom tonight.
It's just one, there's 4 copies.
So do you want to look at it, please?
We did that last time.
It's one from Gary that we don't have.
Okay. Oh, there it is. $50,000. You want to make a motion?
Yeah, I just wanted to give it to you. It's $5,000. But you're on camera, and that just went out. So I want to make sure that everybody knows it was really not $50,000. Okay, you ready? Want to make the motion? Who wants to? You got it in front of you. Can you make it more?
I make a motion to transfer from the town building operating expense account to the road machinery operating expense account of $5,000.
Second. And authorize the chairman to sign on behalf of the Board of Selectmen.
Second. You already seconded that?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. One thing that we're not, I think because of the vacation, you got a letter from Jen Solis. This is what we're going to take up now. You have any questions about it? You want to have Jen come up and explain it?
No, I read it.
I don't have any questions.
I'm good.
So, I don't know about, so I'd make a motion that the Board of Selectmen of the town of West Newbury would send this letter in support of this Creative County Initiative and Essex County Community Foundation, Creative County Grants, to the Creative County Grants Committee.
Second.
Any questions about it? The cable, to give you information about programming, is that the Cable Advisory Committee will try to get in touch with you and try to film this, the whole process, and then then give us more local programming. What we're supposed to be doing and spending that grant money that's $100 and something thousand people are complaining about.
Yeah, that would be great to document.
Yep, so that, we will be doing that. Any objection to that?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much, and we'll be getting back to you with more information.
But there's,
We're doing it anyway in West Newbury. Is that what you're asking?
yeah,
Yeah, we're doing it anyway in West Newbury, but that's, the foundation funded that for the bicentennial. It's part of our bicentennial, contribution.
okay.
But we want to expand it to the other 2 towns as well, and then have a 10-day residency in West Newbury rather than a one-time installment. That's what we're crossing our fingers for the longer installment.
Good.
Thank you.
Letter for Jen, appointments, that, okay, the chief said that.
Follow-up meeting assignments.
Yeah, follow-up meeting assignments, but I have a few, can we do, this is follow-up meeting assignments for today, and I want to follow up on meeting assignments from other meetings too?
Oh, so do I. I have a whole list.
Okay, Mark, you start then.
Okay. So there's a number of either previous meeting and correspondence follow-ups that are still pending. Number one is at our last meeting, when the auditor was in, we talked about Eastern Bank not responding, that there were about 10 items, $33,000, that we don't know what those items are. And
Well, I do know that they got they
got 'em?
They did talk with the bank. Yeah, Sue Yames talked to me and said that they had reconciled completely with the.
So it's taken care of.
With the bank, yeah.
So it's taken care of. Okay, well, we didn't know that.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions. You wanna-
Okay, and the Pentucket Arts Foundation was on my list, but that's resolved. On June 4th, Melissa Robbins requested to give the town an easement for parking and utilities at the car post. I mean, this is to our advantage to accept that, so, you know, that was before this agenda was posted.
Mike, you want to speak to that? You were grabbing the phone, you were
Yeah,
grabbing the mic.
I looked at it, I think it needs some work. I can go over it with you.
So Mike, why don't we do this?
Should we put it on an agenda so we
You
can
can
work
put it on
on
an
it?
agenda, but. I
No,
mean,
but will you be able to, it needs some work. Will that work be done by our next meeting?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, so Mary,
Okay.
can you have that on our next agenda, please?
On May 24th, Brad Busher made a request about protecting the car post during construction. That's part A. Part B is he had also in the past said he would give the town an easement to install a septic on his property. I don't think that's happened, right?
No.
So we should, in concert with the Melissa thing, probably
Okay.
put those in place.
This isn't meeting stuff. This is stuff that we got emails in from
It's,
people and all.
as I said when I started,
Oh, okay.
it's previous meeting and correspondence follow-ups that are still pending.
Got it. Okay.
May 29th, a group of residents sent an update to a Bridge Street speed petition that they had sent earlier. So this was an update to an earlier one. I don't think we've responded to
No,
them.
as a board, we have not.
Yes. And then we have and I know we did talk about this, the Hilltop Circle water construction. So should we,
Hold on for 1 second.
should we push?
Mike O.T. sent everybody an email that you received, and
I
if
saw
we
it.
have any questions, and I haven't got any questions back from Archie or you, and he's willing to come in and work out that at a meeting,
Oh,
but
he said he was willing to come in, because when
Well-
I read that, it said, it asked us to come to one of their meetings, which I can't go to a water department meeting during the day.
well, if we're going to ask him, he said that he didn't want to have it in a public forum, but I said,
That
well,
was a public forum.
I said, yeah, exactly. So I think he sent that to us. So if we have any major questions, we could get back to him and then have them come in and explain everything to us.
That'd be
We're
good.
just waiting for some feedback.
I don't think we should be coming up with the questions. We should be presented like, this is what we're gonna do, you know.
Which you did.
The-
Did you read the email?
Yeah.
Okay. So could you ask the board commission to come in at our next meeting?
Or how about July 9th?
Well, he said in that email that they're going to be starting pretty soon. I don't want to be behind the 8 ball on this.
Whatever.
Have them come in on the 26th?
Okay, last one on the list is on May 26th, Vanessa Graham wrote an email about voter registration. She didn't get a response and sent another one today.
Good.
So that's my list.
I
So
think
can
we all-
we respond to these open, it seems we're getting some resident emails that they're kind of like, just kind of dangling out there. And so I don't know what the mechanism is, I guess, if they're request by, if they're,
I think, do you want every email on the agenda? Because then if there's a formal answer from the Board of Selectmen, it would have to be a vote.
right. I think we should be responding to residents somehow.
Okay, thank you for your email. If we have any questions or concerns, we'll get back to you.
I think they're looking for more than that.
Okay, I'm not trying to be
Yeah.
facetious, I want to start somewhere, okay? So, but then Mary doesn't have any authority to give any direction. So this
Yeah.
is all going to go away on July 2nd. So if you want to make a policy about how to respond to people's emails, we can as a board, but I think Angus will be taking care of that because that would be the day-to-day operation of the town.
Well, that's good. So until
Right.
July 2nd, we should probably respond in some way. I mean,
Okay,
these
but hold on,
were,
hold on. My
these were
point-
written in May.
But but we only meet 2 weeks. If we responded to every single, so my point, Joe, is I agree with you. So you have to tell me what you want. Mary has no authority to give direction
I
of the
wasn't.
board.
I wasn't.
No, I'm not saying you were. So I'm asking you, and then I said, thank you for your email. You said we should respond to them in some way. So then Mary responding with direction, and then my comment about thank you is on the two ends of the spectrum. So I did that on purpose to try to, let's bring it in the middle somewhere. So what would you like? Thank you for your email. If, we we may have this on a future agenda.
Um,
You know what I mean? I don't know
Right.
what you're looking for.
Well, I think it depends on which one of these it is. I mean, I think it's situational to whatever the point was.
Okay, Bridge Street and voter registration, I look at those as totally different.
Okay.
And I look at Bridge Street as being something that's gonna be on a future agenda.
Mhm.
And the voter registration,
And there was another one, just, I don't even know when it came in, about the resident that had the mailbox.
yep, and.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Well,
trying.
the mailbox one, the woman came in, and Mary and I talked about that today, and we've done some work, I guess, up there for her, so I asked her to talk to Gary about that, get the information exactly what that was, I met with her, and then we can bring it to a future agenda. We meet every 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
what you want to do.
I just don't want to let things just go, because then residents get annoyed that, we're not being responsive. That's why I brought it up.
So I think when they get an email, okay, everybody wants instant gratification, then Mary has to send back, thank you, I will give this to the board.
I mean, if they want to talk about it, they're gonna have to come in. If they feel that strongly, maybe just throw it back on them.
Yeah, or
That's a good, I like that.
if, no, they send something in, I will give I will forward this to the board. If you feel like you want to, if you feel like you want to get on a future agenda, please make that request.
Well, that would be it.
That's good.
And that would be up to the chairperson to put them on or not, and I think half of them are not gonna wanna come in for whatever reason, but whatever.
No, I'm trying to solve something, but it doesn't seem like we're solving anything here. So
No, I
you
think-
thought that,
I
you're the one who just said that, and then we agreed with you,
I
and now
think-
you don't want to do it then.
No, I think your solution's a good solution, I agree with it.
Okay, so every email that comes in, every email that comes in, no matter what it is, I'm gonna forward it to the board.
Well, if it's completely ridiculous.
Well, no, some things might be ridiculous to one person and not to the other. So that was my point, that every single email that comes in,
I saw spaceships landing on the Pentucket football field,
Well, we're
yeah,
not
but
gonna-
we have a major problem at Mill Pond because Romeo and Juliet aren't there anymore. Those are the swans. I'm not kidding, so.
I know, it was a headline.
Okay, yeah, so I'm trying to obviously this is something that's bothering you, rightfully so, and you might be getting some questions from the thing or whatever you're doing, but you're not coming up with solutions. So we're a board that meets
Your
every 2
solution-
weeks.
Your solution, I agree with.
Okay, so I'm trying to get to the solutions because
I agree,
I agree with your
we
solution.
thank you for your.
I will forward it to the board. I will forward it to the board. If you want to get on a future agenda, please put a request in. And then we'll forward it. And if you want to go and talk to the people, I find it not interesting or whatever, or I've already dealt with it 700 times, or Joe could go talk to it, and then he could actually bring it back to the board and say, you know what, this might be something that, Glenn,
No,
could you put?
that's a good answer, because it puts it back on them if they want to come in. So
And we
I
have the
agree.
information that we can go research it if we want to.
I agree, and then we're responding, so that fits my bill.
You got it? And I'm not trying to be, so starting tomorrow morning, if we
I
get,
just say that 98% of the emails I respond, that I'm in receipt of your email.
Yeah, I
and
wasn't saying
have forwarded
that.
it to the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah.
So I might have missed a few.
No, I was not. I was
and
not.
So,
That-
but that has been my policy to follow through on that one.
okay, so
And that's not what I was saying.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have,
Just saying.
then
they might be sending it in and thinking that we're going to take action. And we say, okay, thank you for this. You know?
It's what
I-
happens then
yeah,
after you send them
I'm sorry.
back.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they might think that, okay, these selectmen aren't doing anything, but you gave us the information, and we might have not thought they would even want it on their agenda, or we might not think it would even warrant it to be on an agenda. So why don't we, so from now on, say, thank you, I'll forward this to the board. If you want to come in and,
Want to get on a future
agenda, please make,
Make your request.
Yep,
That's it.
perfect.
Right?
Yep, perfect.
That's what I have.
That's perfect. Okay.
anything else? You?
This is
well, because, just for, we're talking about future?
No, follow up on
Oh, okay.
assignments. I didn't know if you had anything. He had some stuff, so,
anything from today's meeting.
yeah, I'm gonna go through that, but I'm asking like I asked you, I want to ask Archie, did you have anything like that?
No.
Okay, so, on today's meeting, I'm not sure what you guys did, the police department's presentation appointments, that's all taken care of, they're gonna get sworn in, you're gonna make up that stuff, we have to sign it. The ambulance stuff, you two took care of that. The housing plan, there isn't any really thing on that, I'm not,
So the ambulance has to, so you know what's going on, we have to send it back to them and say, we're okay with it, and are you in agreement with it, and then send it back to us, so that's the plan.
okay?
Right, I'll send them.
Okay, and then, I'm not sure about the housing plan, I should have asked them that, is there anything that we need to sign, or,
I looked and I didn't.
could
see
you
it.
ask Leah or somebody from the planning board about, hey, we did approve it, do they need our minutes, or is the planning board just gonna send somebody a letter saying that, yes, the Board of Selectmen and the planning board approved it? I don't,
Probably that's all.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
it is,
I would've-
it is what it is. The wage schedule, we're happy with that. The appointments, that obviously we need to still work on those, for our next meeting. The minutes, we need to work on, the warrants are taken care of, and that's it. You have anything else?
Nope.
Okay, can I have a copy of that?
Yes. I put it on your desk, actually. When we were in there.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay. I'll go through that and make sure that my list of stuff that I want on future agendas is that.
So we on future agenda now?
Yes.
So, as we have in years past, department heads write objectives. I think Angus is very interested in that. So as we have in years past, we should ask for people's results of their FY18 objectives, and I would send them to the Selectmen's office with a copy of to the town manager. And after we receive them, we should schedule, as we have in the past, one selectman go and talk with the department heads and include Angus, so that he can take that process moving forward.
Okay, so what's the email that you want to have sent out tomorrow by Mary?
That objectives are due, your FY18 results to your objective are due to the selectman's office with a copy to the town manager by, and whatever date we want to say. I would say a month.
No, I wouldn't say a month.
What would you say?
I would say by our next meeting.
I don't think we're going to get them in 2 weeks. Well, first of all, in 2 weeks, the fiscal year is not closed yet. So, I mean, in fairness, it should be a date, it should be a July date.
That's a good point, yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to kind of review them and go over them before we gave them to Angus. But, okay, so July 9th, I don't want to say a month. I want to have a date on it so it's not hanging out
Oh,
there.
I want to have a date too.
Okay, so what do you want to
The
do?
9th is fine.
July 9th?
Yeah.
For our July 9th meeting, which would be the Wednesday before.
Well, now you're into the Wednesday before is July 4th, so people are going to be on vacation.
Okay, so what would you like to do?
I'd stick with July 9th.
So we're not going to discuss, we will not be discussing them the night of July 9th meeting.
Yes, that's correct.
We will not be
That's
discussing.
correct.
Okay.
I mean, typically,
So then I don't care when it is. I'm trying to get for the July 9th meeting.
typically if there's like 10 of them, only, there's 4 that are late anyway. Every year it's been that way.
I understand that. So I'm just trying to get them in concert with our meeting schedule. So I don't care about
I
July
think it
9th.
would be difficult to have them.
Which
before
I
July 9th.
understand. So
I'd say
I would hope,
July 9th, that's fine.
okay. You understand that?
Yeah, Glenn, the holiday's gonna.
No, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care. I'm just trying to, I want him to get them in, us have time to review them, which I would agree that we wouldn't have time, and then do them tonight. So I'm just saying, that when you said a month, I'm not hard fast on the 9th any longer. We can push it out if you feel.
13th if you want, I don't care.
That's what I mean. We could have pushed it out. I wanted it for the 9th meeting to discuss. So I don't care what it is now.
So you want
As long as we have it for our second meeting
You
in
want to
July.
say the 13th, because then there would be time to have them for the second meeting in July.
Yep,
Okay, so say the 13th.
that's fine.
Okay, that was it for me for future agenda.
Okay,
Do you
you?
want that, so that was, I'm sorry, that was just the fiscal year 18 objectives and the
Result- you have
follow-up. Were
anything?
we also doing the fiscal year 19?
Not yet.
Not yet, just this.
So this is an email to
Thank you.
all of Angus's new direct reports, so it's a little different. that their results to their fiscal 18 objectives are due to.
Results, yeah, I got it. Okay, thank you. for clarifying.
Okay, you all set with that?
Yes, I am.
Gary, I just wanted to ask, for our next meeting, if you could just, you don't have to do it now, just give us a quick summary. Do you think there's any possibility that we might have any reimbursement for the snow damage and so forth? If you've heard anything more about that and that kind of thing.
I think, didn't Leanne submit something for that?
What's
So
that?
it always goes through Leanne.
I thought
she gets the information from
I
Gary.
thought
and
I
the
read
police.
something that we're gonna get something. I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, I just would be
That would be
interested
a
to
Leanne-
find out about
that
that.
would
If
be
you
a
could
good-
ask Leanne about that for us, please?
And do we need to do anything? Yeah.
Yeah, I think she submits it.
I don't think so.
They know enough, Gary knows enough, and the police and the fire, they all keep all their costs, and then she's the one who always does it and puts it together and sends it in.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Jen, you have any questions or concerns? Mike, Mary?
I move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you and good night.